Everyone, welcome to Go Magic 2. So today we'll be solving a very common, useful life and death problem. It is not an easy problem though. It is a very cool and famous Tsuji that we're going to be looking at today. Before we start, if you really like the problem solving series, which is Go Magic, you should definitely subscribe to the channel so whenever my new video comes out, you get notified for that. Because I don't post every single one of my videos on Facebook or whatever forum. Alright, so last move, white decided to honey on the second line, and then black is in a very dire situation. Black has a very serious cutting point on the outside, and the corner is dead. So if black does not play well here, this can lead to a very disastrous situation for black. So the intuition for us is to play the honey at B13. And I think a lot of players just want to play out like this. When white connects, okay, we connect, and then white honeys, black turns to 2-2, and then white honeys. Alright, and then looks like, you know, we can get a nice peep here, but doesn't really solve anything. Maybe we can play 1-3. Maybe that's Tsuji you want to talk about, don't you? Well, that's not really a Tsuji because white can just go into 1-1. And that's I kills no I. So, right? So maybe you're imagining this is what's going to happen in my video today. However, that cannot be further away from the truth. Alright, so we will need to look at this local variation very carefully because it looks like it's on the third line and second line, but there's so many tricks and so much magic going on here. When black honeys, white connecting at B15 would be a very serious mistake because black can honey on the first line, and then white is dead actually. When white Ataris, we can Atari from behind and then follow up from the first line, and then white is dead over here. If white honeys, we can Atari on the first line first, and then we can turn at 2-2, and therefore white is also dead, right? So looks like black's broken everywhere, but white only has 2 liberties. So connecting at B15, it doesn't work. What about B16? Well, the B16, black can follow up by playing B17. Next move is going to Atari at A16. White has to defend himself by making an I, but that's pretty useless because black can descend and then descend at A13, and then white always has this problem of only having 2 liberties. The next move, black's going to play A14, and then white is dead. B15 does not work, nor does B16. The correct move for white is to play B17. So this becomes very tricky. The intuitive move is for black to block over here. And then white cannot connect on either side. If white connects over here, black can honey by following up like this. White only has 2 liberties for similar reasons. When white connects, black descends, and I'll leave you to verify that there's no way for white to save this game. White cannot connect on either side. The correct move is for white to counterattack at E14. The next move, white is threatened to ladder over here. Black has to do something about it. If black does not do anything about it, white's gonna ladder the stone, the 3 stones, and therefore this is a terrible outcome for black. Despite the fact that you can connect on the first line with a gote, this is a winning game for white. But you might have a question, what if black Ataris from the top, right? Can we prevent this ladder? Against this move, white can Atari first. When black turns, white can connect on the second line. After the exchange, when black tries to fight and save the b13 stone, white can Hane. Black Ataris, white gets out with an Atari. That's the problem. Black needs to save the 3 stones, or he needs to save, well, basically he's going to lose these 3 guys or these 2 guys, which becomes pretty obvious, I believe, for all my viewers. This fight is not going to work out for black. So at this point, the best move is probably just to take. White connects. And then there's no way for black to escape the b13 stone. And therefore, the corner is also dead. That is why the b18 is not going to work for black. Well, what about we play some sort of Tsuji over here? Let's say we Atari on the first line. This looks like a very nice Tsuji. In fact, it is a very, very nice move. White has to connect at b17, right? White can connect at b15. For me, my viewers who don't see, this is the same scenario as before. So white absolutely has to connect, and then black has to block at 2-2. White can now make a ko over here. So this would be an interesting outcome for both sides. If white loses the ko, obviously the corner belongs to black. However, if white actually gets to win this ko, let's say, you know, for some reasons, if white has a lot of ko threats and he actually takes this, the outside's completely broken, the corner is dead. So this is a very heavy ko for both sides. This is an interesting outcome, but can we find better results? What about if we peep in at a15? Against this, white is going to connect as well. When black blocks, we can just cut on the outside. Black has to play on top, because if black plays this one, we can Atari. White gets out, but we can just ladder everything. Which means black has to turn over here, preventing this problem. White's going to connect, and then black has to run out and fight. But then it's pretty much the same problem as before. When white extends out at f14, the 3 stones on top, they are already dead. If black tries to run out, and that's the only way for him to run, white can just follow up by kicking and then turning. Black only has 2 liberties and cannot escape. Alright, so that shows you that this peep at a15 does not really do the job. Well, at this point, then we saw that a14, a15, or turning at 2-2 point, none of those lead to a clean kill. So can we actually find a clean kill in this situation? Well, since I asked, the answer obviously is yes. But before that, let's look at some other possibilities. What if black clamps over here? Well, this is kind of interesting. But white has an obvious way out, that is to extend. This also leads to a ko. Black can fight a ko like this. So that's also not a clean kill, not to say white has a very nice ko threat. The white obviously going to take first. When black takes back, I can still turn into the corner as my ko threat. So this is very nice for white as well. So without further ado, you probably guess what the answer is going to be for this problem. That is for us to peep at a15. That's the correct answer for this problem. But the problem does not end there, because white also has nice defenses. First of all, white cannot connect. If white connect, black can Hane on the outside. And then it doesn't matter what white plays, it's not going to extend the liberties. If white plays this one, black can just turn like this. White cannot escape the fact that he only has 2 liberties. For similar reasons, if white plays this one, black can Atari, and then connect, and we see that white also only has 2 liberties. What if white turns over here? Well, black can use the old method to block. And then if white connects, we can hane, and then white only has 2 liberties. The most resilient defense is for white to hane. Against this move, if black turns, white is going to connect at b15. When black hanes, white can actually play a16, which makes our a15 stone a really bad move, because that's a useless stone over there. When black extends, white's gonna cut, and then after these exchanges, white can Atari from the top. So black's corner needs to live immediately, right? Like black needs to live like this, and that's just a so I don't really need to explain this outcome, right? So this variation at this point, we can see that it doesn't really work for black. So here, obviously, other stuff such as the Atari over here, white can connect, creates a Miai situation for white. White can extend into the 2-2 and then Atari at a14. Black is also not going to work. So our correct Tsuji over here is this amazing bamboo shape at a16, which makes this problem super awesome. And this problem is actually coming from Weiqi 101. But this is actually a very famous problem in the game of Go. Alright, so why does this a16 work? If white connects, black can turn. White has to turn at a17. Black Ataris, and then Atari, and then blocks right there. And we realize that white only has 2 liberties. White's most resilient defense is to play a18. This is a tricky move, but actually it just doesn't work, right? This is just for visual purposes. So at this point, yeah, that is just pretty much dead for white. White wants to pull out the stone, but black can just Atari from behind. White has no way out. So, well, let's look a little bit further, right? Like, is that really the end for white? Can white just block over here? The problem is these guys don't have the liberties to do so. We can also capture white. If white connects on the other side, I can go really slow for you to see, what black needs to do, obviously, is to hane from the outside. White still does not have time for this, so obviously white needs to, either connect or something. So white's going to connect this time. Black turns. White has 2 liberties. White has to turn, and then white still has 2 liberties, and that just, the lack of liberty for white is just so fatal in this problem. So, and that's pretty much the solution. When you reach this point, it is very hard for you to not kill white's group over here, actually. So, very beautiful sequence. Whenever you see this kind of shape, think about the Tsuji that I present over here, right? This is a very beautiful, famous Tsuji. If it's the first time you see it, it's definitely very pleasing to the eye. And I really hope that you encounter a game where you can actually make use of this Tsuji. It'd be the nicest feeling ever. Alright, so thank you very much for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.